You know when you hear a piece of music and it just stops you in your tracks and you think, how on earth did somebody come up with that? How does something go from just a little spark in someone's head to a finished song that you can't stop listening to? Well, that's what we're diving into today.
So where do you even start? Is it some kind of lightning bolt of inspiration that just strikes out of nowhere? Or is it more like a recipe, something you can actually learn, step by step? It's the big question for anyone who's ever sat down and tried to write a piece of music.
And hey, if you've ever felt that, you are definitely not alone. This comment from a user on Reddit, it just perfectly captures that feeling of staring at a blank page or a silent keyboard and just feeling totally, completely lost. So let's look at two totally opposite ways to tackle this problem.
Okay, so on one extreme, you've got this idea that music is basically just applied math. It's a world of pure logic, of systems and formulas, where creativity is actually a product of calculation.
A perfect example of this is something called the Schillinger system. Now, this isn't just a couple of tips. It's this massive, comprehensive framework for creating music using, you guessed it, mathematical processes. The idea is to generate everything, rhythm, melody, even harmony, through these really precise, repeatable steps. You're basically swapping out intuition for algorithms.
So at first glance, this might look like your Wi-Fi password or something. But in the Schillinger system, that string of numbers, it is a rhythm. It's what's called a rhythmic resultant, and it's the totally predictable outcome of a math formula. This specific pattern, for instance, came from just combining the simple patterns of 7 and 4. The system literally calculates every single beat.
So how does this actually work? Well, you start with two simple number patterns. Schillinger called them generators. So, for example, imagine a pulse that happens every 3 beats and another one that happens every 2 beats. The system gives you a formula to smash them together, and what you get is a new, way more complex rhythm called a resultant. It's a guaranteed way to build something intricate from very simple parts.
And what's wild about this is how predictable it all is. You combine 3 and 2, you get a pattern that's exactly 6 beats long and has 4 hits. You combine 9 and 8, you get a pattern that's 72 beats long with 16 hits. You can see how rhythm creation becomes this predictable science. But what about the feeling? You know, the soul?
And that question, well, it brings us to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. This is the philosophy that says, forget the formulas, forget the theory, just listen.
This advice from Reddit is pretty much the anthem of the intuitive composer. The argument is simple, right? You learn to compose by composing. Your most important tool isn't a calculator. It's your own ear. You don't need to get permission from some textbook to just start making stuff.
Whoa, okay, steal with 4 exclamation points. That sounds a little intense, right? But this doesn't mean go out and plagiarize. What this user is really getting at is learning through imitation. Listen to the music you love, figure out what makes it tick, and then try to use those ideas to create something that's totally your own. It's how artists have learned for centuries.
And this is really the heart of this whole philosophy. Trust. The idea is that you've spent your entire life listening to music. You've already absorbed what sounds good to you. Your taste isn't just some random thing. It's probably your most powerful tool. The theory, that can come later, maybe as a way to explain why something you stumbled upon sounds so good.
So this brings us to this huge fork in the road. On one side, people say you have to learn the grammar of music first. You know, the theory, the scales, the chords. But on the other side, the advice is to just start talking. Just start making sounds and let your ears guide you. So which one is it? The system or the soul?
Well, of course, the real answer isn't about choosing one or the other. It's about bringing them together. The modern composer doesn't just use a pencil or just a feeling. They use a whole toolbox that combines that systematic knowledge with intuitive, in-the-moment creativity.
A perfect concept that bridges these two worlds is harmony. It's all about how different notes combine. And it has two sides to it. You've got the vertical, that's the notes you play at the exact same time to make a chord. And then you have the horizontal, that's how those chords move from one to the next over time. This is where the system, the structure of a chord, meets the intuition of how that chord feels when it moves.
Here's a perfect practical example. Okay, so theory tells you that you want a C major chord, but how are you going to play it? Are you going to use close harmony, where all the notes are bunched up together for this really dense sound? Or do you use open harmony and spread them out for a big, spacious, resonant feel? That choice right there, it's a perfect blend of technical knowledge and pure gut feeling.
And this blend is exactly what you see in how composers are actually trained today. If you look at the composition program at the University of Oregon, for example, it's not just about music theory.
They expect you to be skilled in traditional composition, but also electronic music and even collaborating with artists in other fields. It's a clear signal that today's composer needs a whole range of tools.
And this modern skill set is powered by an incredible digital toolbox. You've got DAWs like Ableton that lets you capture an idea in the moment, then go back and edit it with mathematical precision. You have software that can generate music for you, virtual instruments to give you a whole orchestra at your fingertips. These tools don't make you choose between logic and intuition. They actually bring them together.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It's that there is no one secret recipe for composing. The whole point isn't to find the right way to do it, it's to find your way.
Composition is both an art and a craft. It's a craft because there are tools and techniques, the grammar, the systems that you can absolutely learn and get better at. But it's an art because you're the one who decides how to use those tools to express something unique, something that comes from you.
And I want to leave you with this fantastic quote from the website Art of Composing. It just completely reframes the goal. Your job isn't to sit down and write a masterpiece on your first try. Your job is to show up, to practice the craft, to play, to listen, and slowly, piece by piece, to build yourself into a master.
So in the end, it was never really about the system versus the soul. The real question is how you're going to combine them. What's your process going to look like? What's the first note, whether it's calculated or just felt, of your story?